The phone call from my mother came at 6:14 a.m. on a Saturday. I was in my Seattle apartment, still half asleep, when her voice cut through the fog. "Natalie, I know you're embarrassed, but you really should be here for this. James worked so hard to organize everything. The least you can do is show your face." I sat up, pushing hair out of my eyes. "Show my face where?" "At the resort. For the investor meeting." "Sweetheart, I know the foreclosure is humiliating, but hiding won't make it go away. Your brother found buyers willing to pay $780,000. That's enough to clear most of the debt and give you a fresh start." My blood went cold. "What foreclosure?" "Oh, Natalie." Her voice carried that particular blend of pity and disappointment I'd heard my entire life. "Denial won't help. James showed us the bank letters. You're 4 months behind on the mortgage. The resort is in foreclosure proceedings. We're trying to salvage what we can." I was fully awake now. "Mom, I need you to listen very carefully. There is no foreclosure. I'm current on every payment." "Where did James get bank letters?" "He said you gave him access to your accounts when you were dealing with all that stress last year. You remember when you had that breakdown?" I closed my eyes. Last year I'd had pneumonia. I'd been sick for 3 weeks, running the resort from bed, and I'd given James temporary access to my property management software so he could handle guest check-ins for 2 weeks. Then I'd revoked it. Apparently, he'd kept copies of my login credentials. "Mom, where are you right now?" "At the resort, obviously. The investor presentation starts at 9. James has 23 serious buyers coming. He's been preparing for weeks." I looked at my clock. 6:16 a.m. The resort was a 4-hour drive from Seattle. "Don't let anyone sign anything. I'm coming." "Natalie, you're just making this harder on yourself." I hung up and started throwing clothes into a bag. The Cascade Peak Lodge sat at 4,200-foot elevation in the North Cascades, 47 miles from the nearest town, 19 guest rooms, a restaurant, a ski shop, and 200 acres of mountainside that I'd bought 3 years ago for $1.8 million. The previous owner had let it deteriorate. Broken lifts, outdated rooms, a kitchen that barely passed health inspection. I'd spent 2 years renovating, maxed out credit cards, worked 18-hour days, learned plumbing and electrical and hotel management through sheer necessity. My family thought I was insane. "You're 29 years old with a trust fund coming," my father had said. "Why are you working like a laborer?" "Because the trust fund was my grandfather's, and it came with conditions. I couldn't touch it until I was 35 or demonstrated financial maturity and business acumen to the satisfaction of 3 trustees. My grandfather hadn't trusted his children, my parents' generation, with money. He'd watched them squander inheritances on boats and vacation homes and bad investments. So he'd lock down the next generation's inheritance. Prove you could build something or wait until 35. Those were the options. I'd chosen to build. The resort was mine, purchased with loans and savings and sweat equity. No family money, no shortcuts. And now my brother was trying to sell it. I made the 4-hour drive in 3.5 mountain roads be damned. I pulled into the resort parking lot at 9:43 a.m. to find it packed with luxury SUVs and sedans, at least 30 vehicles. Through the main lodge windows I could see my great room filled with people in business casual, holding coffee cups and brochures. A projector screen showed aerial photos of my property with text overlay. Distress sale. Investor opportunity. Motivated seller. I walked through the front door into chaos. James stood at the podium I used for wedding receptions, wearing a suit I'd never seen and an expression of practiced sympathy. "Really appreciate everyone coming on short notice. As I mentioned in my emails, this is a unique situation. My sister purchased this resort 3 years ago with ambitious plans, but she underestimated the operational costs. She's now 4 months in arrears on the mortgage, facing imminent foreclosure." A man in the front row raised his hand. The listing said minimum bid $780,000. "What's the current mortgage balance?" "Approximately $1.4 million. The property was appraised at $2.2 million 2 years ago, but given the forced sale circumstances and need for capital improvements, we're pricing aggressively to move quickly. And your sister authorized this sale." James's expression was perfect wounded nobility. "My sister is struggling with the reality of the situation. She's not here today because frankly she's embarrassed. My parents and I are stepping in to handle the business aspects, so she doesn't lose everything. I looked around the room. My parents sat in the second row, my mother dabbing her eyes, my father's face set in grim determination. Behind them, my aunt and uncle nodding sympathetically. 23 strangers with checkbooks, eager to profit from my supposed failure. Actually, I said loudly, walking toward the podium, I'm here. Every head turned. James's face went white. Natalie. He recovered quickly, stepping away from the podium with open arms like he was welcoming me home. I'm so glad you came. I know this is difficult, but we're going to get through this together. James, step away from the podium. Let's talk privately. Nat. Now. Something in my voice made him move. I took his place at the podium and looked out at the room full of investors. Good morning. I'm Natalie Brennan. I own the Cascade Peak Lodge. There's been a significant misunderstanding. I pulled out my phone and connected it to the projector. This is my mortgage account. My banking portal appeared on the screen. Cascade Peak Lodge mortgage account. Balance. $1,387,452. Payment history. A long column of green check marks. Current, current, current. As you can see, I'm current on all payments. There's no foreclosure. There's no distress sale. There's no emergency auction. I looked at James. My brother has been lying to you. The room erupted. Investors shouting questions, my mother gasping. James backing away from the podium with his hands up. Natalie, I have the bank letters. James started. Show me. He pulled out his phone, fumbling with it, and held up a screenshot of an email. I zoomed in on the projector screen. It was from a free email account, casket4992@gmail.com. Not my actual bank. The formatting was wrong. The logo was pixelated. It was so obviously fake that I started laughing. You created a fake email account to forge foreclosure notices? I asked. That's not just fraud, James. That's spectacularly stupid fraud. I was trying to help. You're drowning in debt, working yourself to death. I'm running a successful business. Last year's revenue was $1.7 million. This year we're on track for $2.1 million. I have a 4.8-star average on TripAdvisor and a 92% occupancy rate. I'm not drowning. I'm thriving. An investor in the third row stood up. So we drove 3 hours for a property that's not actually for sale? I'm very sorry for wasting your time. My brother acted without my knowledge or authority. If anyone incurred expenses getting here, please send me your receipts, and I'll reimburse your gas and time. The exodus began immediately, investors filing out, some shooting angry looks at James, others just shaking their heads at the waste of a Saturday morning. My father stood up. Natalie, we were trying to prevent a catastrophe. James showed us documentation. Fake documentation. Dad, did you call me? Did you ask to see my actual bank statements? Did anyone verify that I was actually in foreclosure before planning to auction my property? Silence. You assumed I was failing because that fit your narrative, the narrative that I was irresponsible for buying this place, that I was in over my head, that I should have just waited for the trust fund like a sensible person. My mother's voice was small. We were worried about you. No. You were waiting for me to fail so you could feel vindicated. I looked at James. And you saw an opportunity to profit from it. That's not true. I was going to split the proceeds with you, after taking my commission as the broker. After positioning yourself as the savior who rescued your incompetent sister. How much were you planning to make off this, James? His face reddened. You don't understand what it's like. You got Grandpa's favorite. You were the golden grandchild. Some of us had to watch him believe in you. Grandpa gave all of us the same trust fund terms. Prove you can build something or wait until 35. You chose to wait. I chose to build. That's not favoritism. That's choices. The great room was almost empty now, just family. Just the people who were supposed to support me, standing in my lodge, caught in the wreckage of their assumptions. Then the front door opened. 3 people walked in, 2 men and 1 woman, all in expensive suits. I recognized the woman immediately. Patricia Kovac, one of my grandfather's trust fund executives. Corporate lawyer. Sharp as a knife. No patience for nonsense. Miss Brennan, she said, looking at me. I apologize for the intrusion. We tried calling, but your phone went to voicemail. I pulled out my phone. 5 missed calls from a number I didn't recognize. What's wrong? I asked. Did something happen with the trust? On the contrary, the trustees completed our final evaluation last week. We've been monitoring your business performance for the past 18 months, financial audits, operational reviews, market analysis. The Cascade Peak Lodge meets every criterion for demonstrating financial maturity and business acumen. My heart started pounding. As of this morning, your trust fund has been activated. The full $12.3 million is now accessible to you. She handed me a folder. Here's the documentation. Congratulations, Miss Brennan. You've exceeded every expectation your grandfather set. I stared at the folder, at the number written on the cover page. $12,300,000. Patricia Kovac looked around the great room, taking in the projector screen still showing my mortgage account, my family frozen in various states of shock. The abandoned investor brochures lay scattered on the tables. I'm curious, she said mildly. Why are all these people here? Is this a business presentation? My brother, I said slowly, was attempting to sell my property at a fraudulent foreclosure auction because he believed I was financially struggling. Patricia's expression didn't change, but something cold entered her eyes. She turned to James. You tried to sell your sister's property? The property that was the primary basis for her trust fund evaluation. James looked like he wanted to disappear into the floor. If that sale had gone through, Patricia continued, it would have invalidated her demonstration of financial acumen. She would have lost both the property and access to the trust fund until age 35. She looked at me. Did you know that? No. I just knew he was trying to steal my resort. He was trying to steal $12 million. Fraud with the intent to interfere with a trust fund distribution is a felony. It's also grounds for removing him from any future inheritance considerations. My father found his voice. Now wait just a minute. Mr. Brennan, I've known your family for 20 years. Your father wrote this trust specifically because he watched your generation waste every dollar that came to you. He wanted his grandchildren to learn the value of building something. Your daughter built a successful mountain resort from scratch. Your son tried to destroy it so he could profit from the wreckage. Patricia's voice could have cut glass. Which of them do you think honored your father's memory? The silence was absolute. Patricia turned back to me. Miss Brennan, you have decisions to make about the trust fund, investment strategies, tax planning, estate considerations. I'd like to schedule a meeting next week when you've had time to process this news. In the meantime, congratulations again. You earned this. She and the other trustees left. Through the window, I watched them get into a black Mercedes and drive away. I stood at the podium in my great room, holding a folder that said I was worth $12 million, looking at my family. My mother spoke first. Natalie, sweetheart, this is wonderful news. We should celebrate. We could go out. What? All of you get out of my resort. Now. Natalie, you can't be serious, my father started. I'm serious. You came here to auction my property, to profit from what you thought was my failure. You didn't call to ask if I needed help. You didn't verify James's claims. You just assumed I was drowning and started dividing up the proceeds. We were trying to help, my mother insisted. You were trying to feel superior. There's a difference. I walked to the door and held it open. Leave. And don't come back unless you're prepared to apologize for real. Not sorry you're upset. Apologize by actually acknowledging what you did. James tried one more time. Nat, come on. We're family. Family doesn't try to steal each other's businesses. Family doesn't forge foreclosure notices. Family doesn't invite strangers to profit from each other's supposed failures. I met his eyes. You're my brother. But right now, you're also someone who committed fraud. If I see you on my property again, I'm calling the police. They left slowly, resentfully, but they left. I spent the rest of the day alone in the lodge, walking through rooms I'd renovated, touching furniture I'd refinished, looking out windows at mountains I'd claimed as mine. The trust fund was real. $12.3 million activated that morning, sitting in accounts with my name on them. I could pay off the mortgage entirely, upgrade the ski lifts, Build the spa addition I've been planning, hire a full-time chef, expand to 50 rooms. Or I could do nothing, just keep running the resort the way I had been, knowing that I'd succeeded not because of family money, but in spite of family doubt. My grandfather had known. He'd watched his own children waste their inheritances and written a trust that forced his grandchildren to prove themselves first. Build something real. Demonstrate actual capability. Or wait until 35. I built something real. And my family had tried to destroy it because watching me succeed was harder than watching me fail. 6 months later, the Cascade Peak Lodge has 42 rooms, a new ski lift, and a spa that's booked solid through next winter. I paid off the mortgage with trust fund money and reinvested the rest in expansions. Revenue projections for this year: $4.2 million. James sent one email apologizing. I deleted it without reading. My parents send occasional texts asking if we can move past this. I don't respond. Maybe someday I'll rebuild those relationships. Maybe not. But I learned something my grandfather wanted me to learn. Success built with your own hands is worth more than any inheritance. And the people who celebrate your victories are more valuable than the people who wait for your failures. The trust fund was a gift. But the resort I earned myself. And nobody, not my brother, not my parents, not anyone, can take that.